Welcome back to Sunny Cove, where we are slowly making our progress through an Admiral difficulty run on the Insane start location for the Armageddon map. Now I say slowly because we've been having a few issues with debt. And if you've seen the last video, you saw the debt was getting rather out of control. So we took a slight break, and the year was 0070 when I finished the last video, with the intention of paying off our debt. And I'm proud to say we no longer have any loans at all. So it took 16 years to pay these off, and the progress was fairly slow and rather dull, hence why I chose to do it off camera. But here we are, we're debt free, we can start to make a bit more progress, but there's a few things we need to tidy up before we can start to go through some more of the tech tree. So I'll hit play. And we'll let it run slowly. Let me clear some of these out because not all of those notifications are still issues. So there's still three things that we kind of have issues with on this map. One being food production. We did have a bit of a starvation issue in the early 70s, but we dealt with that, and we're almost back up to having full usage of all of our production facilities. Diesel storage. We are a little underwhelming when it comes to our amount of diesel stored, which means if there's any volatility, hence why this pipe is paused, we do suffer significantly from diesel outages. And then thirdly, although we had to produce a large amount of construction parts in order to get all of the debt paid off, we still struggle slightly with our consistency in production. It's better, but it's definitely not where we want to be. But it's good to see we have 100 in storage right now, and that was definitely not the case probably through any of the videos that I've previously done on this run. So that is kind of the issue when you run for these high difficulty runs, is progress can be a bit slower, and you almost need to make it run slower so as to not come up with any issues that are not reversible. So before we crack on with making anything new, I would just go left to right so I don't forget anything and mention a few things that have changed since the last video. So first one, pretty simple one. We have got the limestone quarry up and running. Now, I can't recall if that was fully functioning before. We definitely had the mine tower going, but it is actually functioning. There are trucks going back and forth delivering the limestone to our concrete production. Alright, wasn't anything here. Oh, actually. Bit of input lag there. I did want to throw a lot of input lag there. I did want to throw a little bridge down because we've made the gap here. But it's okay. But we don't have the bridge. And see, it will actually speed up, or rather speed up, it will actually build this vehicle ramp quite quickly. Now we have a backload of construction parts. Now, the reason why I mentioned food and the starvation earlier, and the relevance here is, you can see this is a bit of flat land. Now, I had the brilliant idea, because we struggle for free space everywhere, to put a small farm up here. Although I realised partway through that you cannot place a farm unless it's on soil, which obviously digging partway into the mountain revealed some gravel, stone, essentially materials in which we cannot grow farms, or fields, food rather. And therefore we decided to put a pause on that project and the farm here. I'm assuming what I could do, and I've never tested it, is I could dig another layer down, tell it to dump soil there, and then it would be fine. But the issues we were having were significant, and we had to fix it quickly. Anyway, moving right. And we have a new bridge. We have most of this pipeline completed now. This pipeline is bringing the water, which is on one of the previous videos. So no more trucks driving over there. Now, not much else on this front here. If I go over to the right, You can see we've got a couple of conveyor belts here. So all this is doing is, because you'll see maintenance is also an issue, but it's in a much better place. So if we look at like here, it's 53% on this diesel generator, but it's producing fine now. Conveyor belts are just running it into the maintenance depot, so it's running consistently. The concrete production is running fine. I mean, it functions from start to finish now. But actually, unpause. So look at that. You can just come to the straight away. We can unpause the conveyor belt there. We can unpause we can unpause the loose storage and the conveyor belt. We can start to get to this producing nicely. So the issue we have at the minute is some limestone being put in there. It's being produced fine. Anyway, we'll leave that run. I can unpause this as well. There's probably a lot of stuff we need to go back and unpause because we're in such a poor position with the amount of construction materials that we're just having to funnel it through the most important items. But anyway, that's the bottom part done. Now the other thing is we got another farm. This was essentially the only place I could find reasonably to put one down. Don't think I had to do any landscaping here at all other than get rid of the trees. See, there was trees all the way along, and they are still getting through all of these trees. Now we will in the near future have to start thinking about where we're going to plant some more trees, because this journey is already quite long to get to this section. This section not too bad, but up here it's quite a long way to go. This is can be unpaused as well. Don't worry, the whole video won't be me just unpausing items, but there's definitely a fair chunk of that to begin with. So yeah, the intention was to actually show on camera the last payoff for the video, but instead I forgot and didn't even realize it had paid off as I was playing through. So in terms of the concrete production, it's in a pretty good spot. We just need to unpause a couple of these conveyor belts, and once we turn back on construction parts 2, they'll start to be produced, which is something we'll do now. Up that priority, so we can start to work through some of those more complex structures in the concrete production process. Kind of need these in construction part 2 to solve a lot of our issues. So the food, next big move we can make is upgrade it to irrigated farms. We've still got refugees coming in, and this is the first point where we've actually had all of our open slots filled. So I'll let this run once more so we have a few spare. In the meantime, what would be good is, until we get some slightly bigger storage, now I'm just going to extend the storage facilities here. And that way, hopefully we don't run out with diesel so frequently. Some of the problems we were having is this the crude oil is not being filled up fast enough. If we go back and look over here, it's just a maintenance issue basically. One of the many problems we have faced, and it's a bit of a circular loop because we were having maintenance issues with our diesel generator, and therefore the power wasn't running, which meant the depot couldn't, which meant the assembly couldn't run, which meant the depot couldn't run, and then meant this was on low maintenance again, which is why I put down a new diesel generator, which is basically the main generator now, as that one consistently runs because of the high maintenance, whereas this one is the old broken version. But we're working through that now. You can see this assembly is purely looking at mechanical parts, this one purely on electronics, and therefore it actually runs fairly consistently rather. So it can actually speed up a little bit. We're in a decent spot, hence why there is not a long list of notification issues like there usually is. We do have an error here. It's because we need to get rid of rock. Now, is that possibly because we need more dumping? Not quite. Although I will whilst I'm here. Not like that. I will whilst I'm here just extend this out. Have a bit more land. Why not? We are struggling with it. And obviously we'll need to do some more docks and various other bits, making the most of trading with settlements and the offshore oil rigs and mines. So it's good to have some nice clear square edges to set those docks up on. For the time being, fine. Is this just an issue with a lack of trucks? We are marked as extremely busy. Now the issue we have is we do not have enough assemblies now. Now these two are focusing purely on the maintenance depot, but we don't have enough to kind of do some various bits. So if we actually spin this round, I'm not sure why I had that orientation, but we'll follow suit and turn it this way. Now maybe in a couple of videos time we'll start to look at making this, automate this a bit more so some of the raw materials come in, get stored and flow through, and not do it in the middle of the main part of town either. But for now, it's fine where it is, and I think we'll just set this up for vehicle parts. I think we'll just use this one initially while we've not got enough to specify each assembly. We can just use this for doing the odd bits and pieces that we need. So for the time being, it will be vehicle parts, but they just switch it straight to construction parts afterwards. Boost that as well, actually. Because yeah, it looks like fine. Diesel, rubber, and vehicle parts is what we need. You can see our run on diesel is fairly low. So if it did look like it was working. I don't know if it just broke down just as I was about to click it, but it could really do with that being improved. So in theory, what I could do is what's the reserves like? We're only gone through 20% of the reserves. There are no more reserves on here. And one of the things I normally get going first, not first, but as soon as we start to get the shipyard in working order, is to then have the ship go out, try and find me a nice oil rig, so I can get the oil flowing back in. Now this box situation is not doing me much of a favour. So I am just going to well, that's handy. I'm going to turn this off. Now breaching our housing. Not ideal. We could really do, there we go. With someone coming to pull those rocks out. Well, that pulled dirt out for whatever reason. Despite the rocks being the thing that's causing the issue, it pulled the dirt out instead. There we go, now it's pulling the rocks out. And it should just be dumping it straight here. It's fine, so let's have a look at the few things we have building. So the bridge is all done that we just put down. Like this pipeline is sorted. Yep, so we do have water running all the way through now. Now these will just be empty because of the, even start to smash through all the conveyor belts as well. You're not paying massive amounts of debt. It does run a lot faster. I have definitely learnt my lesson. So we'll be trying to be debt-free as much as possible. Now I may do the odd loan every now and then, but it will have to be for a really good reason, and it'll have to be on something that I can actually pay back in a reasonable time. I think even if I have a quick look whilst things are running, my credit score at one point was 0. This interest rate, I think we were getting 8-9% around that, so it's up to 15% now. I think the volume multiplier was 1. Obviously now it's only a half. But at one point I did have 4 loans. So our credit score and our trustworthiness with the villagers is very low. It's very low. There we go. We stopped research as we're quite far ahead in terms of tech and our ability to actually do anything with it. So I'm not too worried about that at the minute. It's our concern here. I think we are still. No, actually we're doing fine here. Struggling a bit with our iron at the minute because we need slag to be taken away. That's a never-ending whirlwind of pain keeping this poorly optimized colony around. Could really just do with these extra. Really do with this hurrying up and finishing, so I can get the vehicle parts going, so I can then get the extra vehicles out, so I can get these metal castings running effectively, because for all the raw materials, it's literally just a case of this is stuck. I'll turn this back to 10. I wonder if this is what was causing their prioritizing this slag over this in the past, because what we want the slag is to be brought over here to be crushed in order to build concrete blocks. Currently that's not quite possible. So if we can get this one out, I feel like that's going to help us quite a bit on our construction production and its consistency. If I switch to years, take that construction and deconstruction. I'll take off consumption, because consumption is nearly always the same as our production. There'll just be some slight timing issues. I think where if we could find, I suppose 70 would have been one of these two. We actually had a massive 280, almost a peak. I have no idea. This must be because of missions, little quests we were completing to get that much. But we were fairly consistent. Like you can see, there's definitely an increase kind of post that 70, and that was because I was really trying to min max all the purchases of the brick and concrete as we were getting everything up and running. And then it kind of fell off a bit. That's because I was then fighting diesel and food as the main issue. And we're back up there again now, and it's a bit more organically driven, i.e. we're using the construction, the concrete production, and constructing it ourselves. And the other thing I'm going to show, I like showing it that way. Let's go take a look at where was the other thing I was going to show? It's diesel. But yes, it's much clearer. So it's running. It actually runs very high. It's just, like I'm saying, a bit volatile. It's obviously all the issues we're having with maintenance that's largely causing that issue, but an issue which is actually getting worse. I want to say that was up to, was it 53% thereabouts? Now it's down to 20 because this is not running. This is not running because this metal casting process is not running because no one's taking the slag away. And it's a rather cyclical issue. Just desperate for vehicle parts. I'm fairly certain I looked at this before, but you can't purchase vehicle parts. So we are going to have to build them ourselves. But construction materials wise, we've got nearly 80 in the bank. Special construction is a little lower. That's fine. Well, it's a bit. It's a struggle with deciding what some of these priorities should be. But I think that's fine. just get a couple more vehicles out. In fact, this would be smart, because the minute we are struggling vehicles, let's just pull a few off. We'll leave the sand, because if I take it off, I'll forget, and then everything will stop working, and I'll be confused. But the iron ore, I probably don't need that many on it. That should have actually massively made a difference. That was quite inefficient, maybe, to have it the way it was. What's left now? So now we've got 12. In this number here, 12 just sitting there, doing the odd tasks. Oh, now we've got a problem with both generators, the good one and or previously the good one and now the bad one, but hopefully between them, because I don't think we actually need our lead. I suppose our consumption is a little limited, but our consumption, I suppose, when everything's working around here does go over 0.8, and 0.8 megawatts is what, or 800 kilowatts is what, same thing, will be produced by this diesel generator. So we can almost do everything at one. And just notice as well that our food is pretty low. So let's deal with that one. And for a change, we have some construction materials, so we can buy some food, and it's not a disaster. That clearly shows what the next priority should be. Probably not worry about these vehicles. I mean, I'm going to produce them because we're going to need them, but I have to micromanage them as much as I have been at the minute. I think the first step then is do this one over here. Upgrade this to I forgot the name now, an irrigated farm. Which if I'll check, but I'm fairly certain the water will be plugged into the back. Oh, wait, food. I should think rather than just randomly click. But yeah, so spin around to replicate what it's like now. So see, instead it will fill in here, so it'll be here and here, where we have our water pumped in. So if I actually just leave a gap, place it there. Because what I don't want to do is just have it piped directly to the fields, because if we get any slowdown in production, just now it's not food again, slowdown in production, then we are going to suddenly be out of water and the plants will die. So if we have a nice little backlog and we can get it running now, the question is, do I let it run before or after this? I'm going to go out before. No, I can leave it at height 3. I'm going to come back out. But for the sake of exactly, it still needs it when it runs against the farm. So that's fine. We can oh, I forgot loads of units. We can actually just do that straight away. In the meantime, we will just grab a bit more food. And rid of consumption. So, well, actually, I suppose that we shouldn't get rid of consumption. That's the interesting point. So it's 145 is what it just peaked at. But we did just, we must have, I have such a bad habit of just not looking at these. We must have had some starvation because our workers are lower. I thought we were breaching this population. We've not changed the population. Have they died from the cold? Too busy trying to build vehicles, and I'm missing that. We've got people starving and suffering from illnesses. What can I say? Hopefully they're fine now. It looks like they're growing, so. This is refugees. Yeah, we are on low food supply. We do have low maintenance. Those are things I am all too aware of. we could we do have a decent amount of unity. It seems to be flowing nicely. We're running out of people though. Right, we're going to smash through our unity a little bit. Probably just pause the bricks for the time being. Don't necessarily needed that. Rainwater harvester doesn't need any people at all in it, so that's fine. Check in. Well, we've not managed to actually put anything in there. I'm struggling with the electronics. Probably because the electronics are just going straight on the conveyor belt here. So there's no spare. So, like I said earlier, we'll use this miscellaneous assembly here to grab us some electronics. Just like that. So rubber and copper should be delivered soon. Where are we? Copper wise, we're fine. Iron, we're fine. Diesel, same problem. We could do with buying a little bit of diesel. Throw one back in there. Now, where are we in terms of mining this? We could probably start to mine this one. What I really don't want to do is start causing any of this to crumble down. Well, especially here. I mean, it would be a disaster in terms of rebuilding it, but we're just going to lose even more limited space that we have at the minute. So let's just edit this area here. I think that's fine. Cold food as well. Just going to throw in one more. So we are building some electronics now, and then we are also doing these construction parts too. So that's good. We'll start to fill in this, get the food done. It's at least one of the problems that we have. We'll probably come back and solve. I mean, the diesel storage, I suppose, is only part of the problem. Is the fact that the diesel's not running consistently. Well, now it's not because it's not getting coal. Because this, well, at least in this instance, it's full. Because too much rock. And again, it comes to a grinding halt, and there's a ton of warnings again, but they're mostly fine. Like, there's no diesel, that's fine. I know that. I know they are struggling. Main thing is if I could just get this what's coal done. I suppose the problem was I just wanted to solve the coal limit, so they're going to struggle and try and put those things back together. Let's see. It's going to need some fuel to do anything. We don't have the coal to do it. I was going to say we could if we could get him to, if I pause that, get him to remove it. That's 31 coal. This is more important than anyone else when it comes to requests. Our rob is pretty big, so that's not too much of an issue. Just seeing how things are going. This water's full, so we are good to go once we get the construction done. Then that's going to be by far the biggest issue we have, though. Not quite sure how we're going to fix that. Oh, there we go. It is running. It is running. There's enough to push it a little. Probably not enough for it to do much, though. Problem is we need this. This price is too much now. Now, would this be an opportunity for us to actually get some diesel back in? Feels bad that the same video in which I become debt free, I'm now also then becoming full of debt. Let's go with 100. That's enough to kickstart. I'll borrow it back in. Well, it's going to be a bit awkward to actually kickstart this economy without it. So I'll see them all rush back in. They'll load up the generators. I think what we need to do is have a storage that's going to sit off. It fills up, and then it gets completely blocked off, and no one can touch except for emergencies. And then that can be used as our fail-safe to manually kickstart our system again. For the time being, this is the way we're going to have to do it, is deal with loans. Hopefully, I can show loans can be a good thing and get you out of a bit of a hole without just causing a gigantic problem for you. So we'll keep an eye on it. That's what the other good thing is. If we do get this loan sorted, i.e., we used the loan, it's successful, we pay it off in time, we'll see our credit score go up, interest rate and fees go down, etc. And then it'll be more efficient if and when we need to have another crack at loan. Let's check our payment again. 23 is actually not that high at all. When the process is running fine, that's good. I'm running short of electronics now. So if I like to just get this sorted, the farm that is, and then probably be a good place to stop there. And we'll come back next time. Hopefully pay off our diesel loan. We'll pay off nothing else to pay off. We've only got the diesel loan. We will sort out our diesel storage. The food, arguably might be fixed by this. Quick to look at that now. And then hopefully everything will start to run a bit smoother. I'd say maintenance is something we do need to address, but just kind of need these two to run smoothly. Which in theory they are now. Just need some coal up here still. Anyway, the grand unveiling of the irrigated farm. So we shouldn't have any issues with the lack of rain anymore. It's still not worth doing anything different here. Obviously, we can plant the tree samplings. We don't have anything else there. Although, the issue is, you need to attach this water. Otherwise, it's not doing any good to anyone. I'm pulling it like that for next time round. The magic of our well-oiled construction material production means I can just Unity build it straight away. And there we go. Irrigation tank is filling up. We shouldn't have any issues with this one now. So hopefully that somewhat improves it. I mean, we're in a position now where the construction materials currently, we can continually sell them to improve. But I think that's it. There was one other thing I was going to do. We may not place it down. We can. There we go. Connect this up. Because even if we are having maintenance issue, see, like this, we can finish it off quickly. So we'll just wait for that. I think we'll call it there. So we're in a better place. Well, we started this video with no debt. We've got a little bit of debt, but it's in a much more manageable part. Well, it's overdue. Let's fix that. Ooh. In this situation, too many times now. We just need 23. Problem is we just don't have any ready to be stored. So that one's empty a little bit. This one's not popping out. Just set that on turbo, or boost it rather. Oh, and the very first payment failed. I should just not be trusted with loans. I think my credit file should just have a big red X over it. Under no circumstances. So it was 23, now goes up to 27. Leave it there then, because we no longer have to make the payment because we have completely failed it. So, like I said, next time we'll sort this diesel loan out, make sure we're not missing payments. I think the key will just be finishing off this that oil pump there, just to get the oil flowing a bit faster. It'd be great if we could have pipe twos, so increase the throughput. Sort that out. Diesel production, make sure we're having better storage. We'll see if the irrigated farm is enough. May not be. Otherwise, we'll save that all for next video. Thanks.